Otherwise, Arsene Wenger's had pretty much a full squad to choose from, including Sol Campbell, who's made a rapid recovery from a hamstring pull, and Thierry Henry, who wasn't risked at Bolton on Monday as he had a minor fitness problem. Only 2 or 3 selection dilemmas really for the manager. He's opted for David Seaman in goal over Richard Wright, and for a defensive pairing of Tony Adams and Campbell at the expense of Martin Keown, right?
Yeah, I've got to say it's a very, very impressive side. I think Sylvain Veal to a plan.
Something for Chelsea debate, of course, all week. He plays. Such a huge relief for Ranieri to have his first-choice marksman available. Indeed, both of them, really, as Ida Gudjohnsen also been struggling, although not as big a doubt as Hasselbank. Graham Lasso's return, another bonus. He's not played since being injured in the semi-final. And Jesper Gronkia, there's a place for him, but no John Terry. A virus has kept him out. He's only on the bench. Yeah, that's right. And I feel for John. He's had a wonderful season. But I honestly believe Jimmy Floyd is a big plus for Chelsea. They have so often raised their game against quality opponents. They have such a talented team, certainly in terms of some outstanding individuals, but they have lacked Arsenal's consistency, the staying power they needed to maintain a title challenge. Given away by Lampard to Freddie Ljungberg, who's been in such sparkling form for Arsenal lately. 6 goals in his last 6 games, and his overall contribution quite devastating at times. Here's Gronkia. Left it then for Melchior. Not on the same wavelength.
No, quite right, Peter. I think these first 20 minutes are going to be vitally important in this game. As you quite rightly stated, Peter, 2 sets of wonderful footballers. It really depends on who can settle down the quickest.
So many fascinating confrontations all over the field. Ljungberg against Melchior down the Arsenal left. Dennis Bergkamp, who's been in such an inspirational mood of late. Goal taker and goal maker. The Gunners have simply churned out result after result. They're beaten in Europe. They've not lost a domestic game now since Newcastle won at Highbury in the Premiership back in December. Here's Gronkia. He's had so many injury problems this season. Tucking in down the right for Chelsea. Hasselbank thrusting through the centre alongside Ida Gudjohnsen.
Interesting to see the way the Arsenal have lined up, Peter. But Viltord has pushed right up front with Henry, and Dennis Bergkamp has dropped in behind them very, very early on. Graham Lassow making rather a rash challenge there.
Very abrasive one indeed from Lassow, who's been doubtful for this game all week because of injury. He was stretched off in the semi-final early on, and he's going to be cautioned here by referee Riley.
Yeah, I think Mike Riley really does have to get over the game. Obviously, there's a bit of history between these two. That's an absolutely stupid challenge there from Graham Lassow going in there, and he has to book him.
He can be very impetuous at times.
I think it's costing his World Cup place.
Just going to say maybe his last chance today, but that won't help him.
He, for me, this season over the piece has probably been the best natural left-sided player that we've had in the country, and I think Graham's temperament is costing his World Cup place. Here we can see it once again. Now that's an awful challenge. If he actually goes for the ball, he kicks his head off.
Well, he's been in the international wilderness for some 18 months or so now, hasn't featured under Sven-Göran Eriksson, who I'm sure is here today. Aaron, the Cameroon star, will be heading for the World Cup. Early concern then for Arsene Wenger, who doesn't accept that this is low on his list of priorities in any way, winning the FA Cup. Such an important event, he says, the world over. And today the world is watching. I think Laron's okay.
He is, but Graham Lassow now has a problem because he can't play naturally. He can't go for challenges. He can't make one mistake in the rest of this game.
He was just gesturing towards Laron, saying it was a dive. I don't think so. Here's Desai, Chelsea's strong man at the back. William Gallas then as his partner today at the heart of that back line, with John Terry sadly having to miss out. Here's young Ashley Cole. Good interception by Lampard. Gronkia to his right. Lasso's got well forward, joining Hasselbank and Gudjohnsen in the middle. Gronkia's ball in, dealt with by Tony Adams. And then a foul by Lampard on Ray Parlin. The heart of the midfield, Ray, is going to be a key area.
I think it's massive. I think if Chelsea are going to really force themselves on this game, then they have to be very, very solid in the midfield section. Parlin and Vieira really do have tremendous legs in the middle of the field. They get up and down, their passing is superb. Whereas Frank Lampard and Emmanuel Petit, they prefer to get the ball and just pass it. But these two guys for the Arsenal really do buzz around the field.
Here's Lampard. Outmaneuvered though by Freddie Ljungberg. Adams to the Swedish international Ljungberg. He is in their World Cup party, which has now been confirmed. England, of course, named theirs next week. Thierry Henry, 30 goals for Arsenal this season. Hasn't been quite so prolific lately, though. Just gone a little bit off the boil. But such blistering pace to trouble any defence anywhere in the world. Hasselback. What a combination he has formed with Gudjohnsen. Over 50 goals between them this season.
Yeah, they have been brilliant. I sometimes think, Peter, with the loss of John Terry, I feel very much for John. But William Gallas has got blistering pace. And I think if you can see now, he's actually got himself up against Henry.
Hasselback has been penalised here, leaning in on Tony Adams.
So they're obviously quite comfortable that Gallas can handle the pace of Henry. Gallas, in actual fact, has had a very good season his first year in English football.
Ranieri hoping his team can get it right on the day. He was shattered by their recent showing against Manchester United when they really threw in the towel, having got a goal down. Free kick to Chelsea. This is Mario Melchiot, the Dutch international. Cup winner back home with Ajax from his time with them. Desai got caught in possession by Henry. Wiltor with a very tentative touch. And Bamiyaru bailed out his captain then, Desai.
Brilliant play there from Henry up front, realising that Marcel Desai wanted a touch too long in possession of the ball and got after him. Made it very difficult for him.
Here's Tony Adams. Still hasn't made up his mind about next season yet. But he certainly wants to go out on a buoyant note with another double. Part one today. Here's Dennis Bergkamp, who of course missed out on the last double through injury, having had a fantastic season, as I recall. Vieira. No, the flag was up for offside against Ashley Cole.
Still the first piece of fluent football that we've seen. A couple of good passes there put together by Arsenal.
There's been a bit of verbal sparring between Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson up at Manchester United. Ferguson saying Manchester United have been the best team. Wenger replying, well, you always think your wife is the prettiest.
Very nicely put. But I think we can safely say that we've got two fantastic teams playing in our Premiership.
Here's Gallas, the young Frenchman, not by Lampard. Parler came in very strongly then, really biting in with the tackle, Ray Parler. Only a reprimand from Mike Riley. I think the Chelsea fans felt maybe the car should have been shown.
No, I've got to say, I didn't think so personally, Peter. I think that was just a rash challenge there from Ray Parler. I don't think there's anything malicious in that.
Lampard with Gudjohnsen, now Hasselback, who hasn't trained all week because of this calf injury. Had a fitness test this morning. And they decided he can start anyway, even if he doesn't finish the match. Lasso losing out to Lauren. Good challenge by Bamiyaru, who hasn't played too much lately. Indeed, not at all in recent weeks. Henry, but you were saying about his fitness levels, Ray, he's the sort of guy that can come on and come back very quickly.
Yeah, he doesn't suffer a weight problem first and foremost, Peter, but he is a naturally fit guy. He's a very athletic young man, I've got to say. And still only 23, Bavary. He's been around for a long time, but very talented.
Nigeria, of course, in England's group for the World Cup finals. As are Sweden. Here's Ljungberg. A strong tackle, though, by Melchiot. Now Grocchia. Put under pressure by Ljungberg. Good scrapping by him. Now there could be problems for Chelsea. Sylvain Wiltor. So much impressive movement about Arsenal when they do attack. And they have so many options. They've got a corner here.
I think they got lucky there, Peter, as well. I don't think it is a corner. I think Gallas defended exceptionally well. Sylvain Wiltor tried to play it off him, but just went under his foot.
Up comes Tony Adams. He's only featured 10 times in the Premiership this season because of injury. A couple of FA Cup outings before today. He scored indeed against Gillingham in Arsenal's 5-2 win.
We've lost the ball.
How can you lose the ball in the cup final? They found one. Sol Campbell a target too. Martin Keown missing out today. He is among the subs though for Arsenal. Campbell and Adams, the preference for Arsene Wenger at the back. In goes Tony Adams, but I think a little too heavily.
One interesting fact that will come out of this game today, Peter, is the fact that Thierry Henry scored 30 goals. He takes corner kicks. Jimmy Floyd does exactly the same for Chelsea. You know, you'd think that the two big boys would be in there trying to get their 30 whatever.
Quick feet then from Gudjohnsen. Really has made outstanding progress this season, Gudjohnsen, but he was outgunned on that occasion.
He's a very good football rider. Great feet.
Parla to Vieira, the fulcrum in the middle. Off goes Cole. He'll take every opportunity to dart forward down that left side. Joined now by Thierry Henry. It's Grocchia who's come out with the ball. Hasselback in towards Gudjohnsen. And a comfortable claim by David Seaman.
Excellent goalkeeping. Good football there from Chelsea. Grocchia doing very well. Good ball through to Jimmy. And probably just overhit there from Jimmy Floyd for Ryder Gudjohnsen. But excellent goalkeeping from Dave Seaman.
Cudicini. He's had a spectacular campaign for Chelsea, establishing himself as the number one. Ahead of Ed de Hoy. Shutouts in 40% of his appearances, Cudicini.
And everyone that knows him, Peter, would be delighted because he's a really nice young man, I've got to say. But an excellent goalkeeper.
Now Wiltor. This is Ray Parlour. Haven't yet seen a genuine opening really for either side. Fairly cautious start in the Cardiff sunshine. Here's Grocchia with Thierry Henry.
We've got the proverbial heavyweight boxing match though, haven't we? They spar for a couple of rounds and then go for it afterwards. And I can assure the viewers that we will get plenty of that later on in the game.
Cole. Now Vieira, Arsenal's enforcer. Here's Tony Adams. So much the leader of this team. Vieira, of course, has been captaining them in Adams' absence. Now Sol Campbell. Here's Wiltor. Operating down the right side for Arsenal. He was up front at Bolton on Monday. With Henry sitting the game out. That was Lasso upended. Play on, says referee Riley. Lasso endeavouring to do just that. Clashing again with Lauren. Back comes Wiltor. Now Lauren, who's not a natural fullback, but he has settled in there very well this season as a successor really to Lee Dixon.
Yeah, he's got the attributes to play there. He's quick, he can defend, and he loves to get forward as well. So he's got it all there to play there. I think in actual fact, if the truth's known, they did buy him to replace Lee Dixon at right fullback.
Although he himself prefers to play in midfield. Here's Lampard in that department for Chelsea. Hoping to follow in his father's footsteps. Twice a winner with West Ham. Frank Lampard Sr. Now, Tony Adams wanting to get on with it quickly. Gudjohnsen being spoken to. Can be a mite fiery at times, but there's no doubt about his talent.
You see, the fact he gives that because he doesn't look at the ball. He's looking at Tony Adams all the time. If Ida would have had his eyes on the ball, then he would not have given that free kick, and in my opinion, it was a foul.
Here's Bergkamp. Only a very late substitute last season when Arsenal were beaten by Michael Owen's double strike late on after Ljungberg, of course, had given Arsenal the lead, and they were, in most people's opinion, the better team, really, Arsenal. But it was Liverpool who came out on top in the end. And they are so anxious to make amends this year. Here's Henry. Just ghosted into the space then, which Gallas was trying to close down. It's Wiltor with a snapshot denied by Desailly.
He's got an afternoon, Marcel. He's got Henry, he's got Wiltor up there. I'm sure as their French captain, he'll want to show them who the governor is. And that was a fantastic challenge from him.
Wilto has got an outstanding record in the FA Cup. 8 goals in 12 ties. 16 strikes for Arsenal this season overall. Here's Bergkamp. Hasselback going in a little too aggressively.
But I've got to say, Peter, Patrick Vieira did well for him there. He's taking the game in the right spirit. He's got up, he's been fouled, he's got up on his feet and playing. And that's important. You know, when you start all the theatricals on the floor, then it's very, very difficult for the likes of Mike Riley, the referee.
There was a time when he might not have done that, of course, in the past, Vieira. Here's Ferry Ljungberg. Miscue really by Gallas. Smuggled away by Babayaro in the nick of time.
Mario Melchior's got to work a lot harder preventing that ball coming in. And Ljungberg isn't the fastest player in the world, but my word, Melchior's got to work a lot harder. That was a dangerous situation there from Chelsea's point of view.
Petit with the free kick. Playing against his old teammate Vieira. In the midfield, of course, Manu Petit. An emotional day for him. Babayaro. Well read though by Vieira. So many attributes. Now it's Ray Parlour. Having a right old tussle with Lampard. Still Parlour. Not asking too much of even Henry and Wiltor with their scorching pace.
The adrenaline pump in there. He did ever so well there, Ray Parlour, to shake off Frank Lampard in the midfield. Then he should have played it nice and simply. Keep the ball. Don't give the ball away. It's going to be a hot afternoon and you need possession of the football.
Desai. They say he does pick his matches a bit, Desai. Well, he'll fancy this one.
And if he performs, they've got half a chance, Chelsea, because he is a world-class performer.
This is Gallas, a French under-21 international. Now Lampard, who's hoping to make it into England's final squad for the World Cup finals. Grocchia. He'll be there, I'm sure, with Denmark. This is Lasso. Decent effort too, and it nearly spilled away then from Seaman as Hasselback arrived on the scene.
He did very well there, Dave Seaman. The ball just drops about a foot in front of him, and it's a difficult one. From the pitch, naturally, I went on the pitch before the game. It's a bit long, the grass. And he does well there, David. He's got it well under control. Just brings it into his body on the second chance. But no, I thought the pitch was a bit long. I'd love to have seen a really short pitch, wet pitch, so we had a really quick game, because these two sides really can pass the ball very well indeed.
How did you get out there then? I'm going to pass for that.
He was very unlucky, my old friend.
Thank you. Seaman preferred to Richard Wright, and there's been much talk about that all week. Richard Wright has played in the earlier games in the FA Cup this season. I don't think there was a promise by Arsene Wenger that he would play today, but certainly Wright had penciled it in.
Yeah, I think when Arsene made the decision to play Richard in cup games, whether that be Worthington or FA Cup, you naturally expect to play in the final game, but I broke up.
Lampard, good efforts. Well held though by Seaman. Chelsea just threatening now to take the game to Arsenal a little.
Yeah, a couple of long shots coming in there. Frank Lampard picking the ball up. Does ever so well, Frank. He's a good runner with the ball. And I think that, it's very comfortable for David. Take a lot better than that to beat Mr. Seaman, one would have thought.
Well, Wenger has been saying, hasn't he, that he would go for the team he feels is the strongest one, most likely to win the FA Cup. So if he thinks Seaman's the better man, then there was no room for sentiment.
No, quite. No, I think we are in a professional game here, and unfortunately sentiment doesn't really creep into it. David would be number one as well for England as well, I would have thought, Peter. So.
Now Babayaro with Petit, just holding things together in midfield for Chelsea. Stabbed away by Adams to Parlour. 11 consecutive league wins have taken Arsenal to the brink of the title. But are they going to win the FA Cup first? Decided with a typically powerful run then. Ended by Parlour's challenge.
Excellent decision there from Mike Riley. It's a difficult game for him. There's a few players that are got a few histrionics coming out on the field, and Marcel Dassé pushed the ball far too far in front of him and had a dive. That's good refereeing.
Now he's after Bergkamp. So was Gudjohnsen. Parlour sliding in, and it's Dassé who came away with it, but not for long. Beautiful tackle by Vieira, and Ferry Ljungberg is now offside.
Yeah, a mile offside, and I don't suppose
unnecessary.
Yeah, he'll get a booking for that as well. He should do. I don't think he's going to.
I think it's just a warning.
but he's making things very difficult for the referee. Now, the supporters of Chelsea are giving Mike Riley dog's abuse now, but unfortunately that's Lundberg's problem. Good sign for Chelsea is the fact that Marcel Desailly really seems up for this afternoon, I've got to say. I felt he was offside there when Dennis Bergkamp played it through, and I think we can safely say that he was.
With that shock of red hair, Freddie Ljungberg. You'd have liked a choice, wouldn't you, of any hair, really?
I'd love a bit of choice of hair, mate, yes. I thought you'd get it in somewhere.
Here's Vieira. Now Thierry Henry. Wiltord just offside. Or rather, it's Ashley Cole that time, but it was a close call.
Another excellent decision, though, Peter. We can see as that ball played through, Ashley has just gone offside, Ashley Cole. But I've got to say, they're getting runners from deep, Arsenal, and they've got half a chance if they suck Chelsea in. And there's a lot of space in behind the Chelsea defenders for that ball over the top.
And they must be wary of the pace up front of Henry and Wiltord. Arsenal don't get that many goals from crosses, but boy, do they make them through the middle with their touch football, their fluency. But here's Petit, showing some great anticipation and can't quite service Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink.
It was exceptionally well read there from Manu Petit, but Jimmy needs a better ball than that, especially when he's got the likes of Tony Adams picking him up, who is a very, very canny defender.
Just coming up to the midway point in the first half. Fairly cagey so far. Henry, that to Freddie Ljungberg. Now here's Henry able to accelerate. He's got Bergkamp up with him. Cleared away by Marcel Desailly. Terrific defending by him.
What pace, though, Peter. It's absolutely frightening, the pace of Henry. With the balls played through and measured through, then this guy, he is electric. But great defending, as you quite rightly stated, by Marcel.
I think Henry felt the defeat maybe more than anyone last season. He had chances, didn't he, to score when Arsenal might have sewn it up against Liverpool. Didn't take them.
Yeah, and I think we can safely say that Arsenal were the better team that day. But when you do have the likes of Michael Owen playing against you, you've got a problem.
Bergkamp timed his run perfectly. Just couldn't find the finish to match.
That's
sat on the shoulder then. Perfectly timed run.
Sorry, Peter, that's Dennis Bergkamp. The perfectly timed run over the back. It's a good ball. He sees Carlo off his line, Carlo Cudicini. Tries to dink it over the top, but just puts it wide of the upright. With Carlo beating all hands down there, we'll see it once again. Good effort there from Dennis Bergkamp, but I think Carlo might well have had that covered.
13 goals from Dennis Bergkamp this season. He's nearly trebled his total from the last campaign. He really has found his top form again. And that has been the catalyst, along with a form of other key individuals as well, for this terrific run by Arsenal. Wiltord onside this time, so with Ljungberg, but couldn't take advantage. Cudicini out very swiftly. On by Lasseau, got battered then, and fell very awkwardly, but on goes Hasselbaink. Adams stepped in and, well, maybe took him out.
Yeah, I think he might well have done, Tony. It was an experienced piece of defending, let's say. But Ida Johnson made a good run for Jimmy Floyd. I thought he was going to hit it, to be perfectly honest. He was about 25 yards out of goal. And I thought, go on, Jim, have a go from there. But there we see it. I think Tony just obstructed him enough to prevent him going in on goal.
Meantime, Lasseau is back on his feet, albeit a little gingerly.
I think that might be a little repayment.
You pros don't do that sort of thing, do you?
Never.
Some attention needed for Lasseau. Drafted in down the left side for Chelsea today. Babayaro at left back. Ranieri had other options. Might have played Zenden, he's on the bench. Stanic, also a sub. No, he's not actually, it's of course Gianfranco Zola, who he has waiting in reserve. Maybe we'll see him later. Stanic missing out altogether today. Here's Cole. Now Ljungberg. Melchior is no slouch. Well, that was out of play. The throw to Chelsea, who came through against Fulham in the semis, while Arsene Wenger's team rather struggled to overcome Middlesbrough. Eventually scraping through from an own goal by Gianluca Festa. John Terry's goal won the semi for Chelsea. It's Arsenal who have the free kick now. Here's Bergkamp. Now Campbell has made this very quick recovery from injury. Stretch it off in the semi against Middlesbrough. And at that stage, they were ruling him out for the season.
I think so much is their depth of talent, though, PG, is that they probably took him off as a precaution in that semi-final. They really do have an amazing amount of talent, Arsenal, and you can afford, when you do have a problem, to take the likes of Sol Campbell off. You just stick Martin Keown in there or Tony Adams, and you know what a couple to have to come back into your side. Martin, unfortunately for him, having to sit out this afternoon, but I don't think he would have been back. Had he have pulled that, then there's no way he could have been back for this game today.
Vieira, little nudge then it seemed on Lampard. Not so according to the referee. Here's Jesper Grønkjær. And the throw conceded by Cole. Hasselback down towards Grønkjær, but isn't it Cole? Well, the referee's assistant was flagging then over on the far side.
Yes, he was flagging, Peter. He was flagging for a foul on Ashley Cole, but I'm delighted that Mike Riley let the game go. And that was a handball there from William Gallas, with Bergkamp trying to stick Thierry Henry through in the inside left channel.
Vieira with the free kick for an Arsenal team who've not lost away all season in the Premiership. If they survive at Old Trafford, they'll be the first to go through the whole campaign unbeaten since Preston back in the 1880s.
Which would be, I think, in modern-day football, just absolutely unbelievable, Peter, I've got to say, for a side to go through a whole season undefeated away from home, which is marvellous.
25 minutes gone. Arsenal 0, Chelsea 0 in the FA Cup final at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. Pretty much even Steven so far. Here's Gudjohnsen away from Vieira initially, but then brought down, and that'll be a yellow card for Patrick Vieira.
Brilliant once again from Marcel Desailly. He's skipping past a couple of challenges in the midfield, tried to play a little 1-2 with Ida Gudjohnsen, and there we can see Patrick Vieira just bringing down Ida as he tried to go past him. This is going to be a very interesting afternoon. I think Mr. Riley is in for a very troublesome afternoon, I've got to say, because there's a lot of niggly little fouls going on out there.
The game hasn't really flowed as yet. They've rather cancelled each other out. Here's Manu Petit. Grønkjær, no handball. Adams in the way, then it's Cole. Aiming for Henry, the only man right up top here for Arsenal. No contest against Desailly in the air, really.
It's very interesting, though, when that ball came in from Grønkjær, there was only Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank in the box, and with Frank Lampard and Manu Petit in general play, both being holding type midfield players, then they really do need the likes of Graham Lasso on the left-hand side and Grønkjær on the right-hand side to make up the numbers in the box.
Here's Cole, rocking forward now then for Arsenal. Should be Kudacini's. Very much a fixture in goal for Chelsea now. Carlo Kudacini, having edged ahead of Bosnich and Ed De Hoy.
His father must be absolutely delighted with him. Obviously, his father being Il Ragnonero, the Black Spider of AC Milan when they won
back in the 60s, yeah?
Yeah, in 1963 they won the European Cup. His father was in goal, and they're great goalkeeper. But Carlo is emulating. Fantastic stuff.
Here's Melchior. He's going nowhere, though. Ljungberg. Swapping passes with Vieira. Now it's Cole. We've had a few weeks out injured recently, Ashley Cole, before winning his place back. In time, he hopes for the World Cup finals. He seems to be pretty high up the pecking order at the moment. Now Wiltor, excellent movement by him. Henry's in the box, so is Bergkamp. But nobody beyond them.
Freddie Ljungberg is actually standing about 20 yards from the halfway line. That's Freddie's territory. When that ball goes to the back post, you expect your wide left player to be on that back post having a go for you when you cross it from the right side. And likewise coming in from the left.
Well, a magnificent atmosphere in the sunshine today. Fantastic noise reverberating around the Millennium Stadium. Ida Gudjohnsen. really has made his mark for Chelsea this season. Here's Petit, took a while to settle. Now Grocchia. Chelsea with 3-4 in the box now. Good closing down though by Cole, showing his defensive quality. No one doubts how good he is going forward, but sometimes doesn't get it right defensively.
Yeah, very true. Just the Grocchia has gone down there as if he'd taken one in the face. I think it was accidental, I've got to say. But it's a very, very dangerous situation here for Arsenal with Chelsea. Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing at all. That must happen 50 times every Saturday afternoon.
Grocchia can be a real menace for Chelsea, though. He's only made a dozen or so starts this season because of his injury problems. And he's not interested in this free kick.
No, they've actually put him back as one of the two markers with William Gallas. Grocchia obviously has dynamic pace, and they've put him back as one of the markers on Thierry Henry.
Grant Lasso. That was plan A. This is plan B. Lasso just in ahead then of Wiltor. Now Celestine Babayaro to Lampard. Good delivery, aiming for Gudjohnsen. And Hasselback seemed to be impeded then by Campbell.
That was brilliant football from Chelsea. That's a marvellous ball there from Frank Lampard, and Ida Gudjohnsen playing a superb volleyed pass across the box, but good defending there by Sol Campbell and Jimmy Floyd.
Now Melchiot to Gallas, who has played at left back in a few games recently in the absence of Lasso and Babayaro.
Didn't think he looked as comfortable there, Peter, I've got to say. When he plays at centre-half, he really does look the business. He's got pace, he's powerful, and he plays very simply as well. But when he was at left full-back, tend to get exposed a touch.
This for a Chelsea team who've had to settle in for 5th place in the Premiership after dropping out of the title race. They will at least be in the UEFA Cup next season, but not the Champions League, which had been their initial target. Here's Grocchia, hounded by Freddie Ljungberg. Now Lampard. Ever gritty and determined and adventurous too on this occasion. Laron, the covering defender.
He's done well, Frank Lampard. He's made a couple of breaks in the middle of the field, just overhitting his cross on that occasion.
Now Babayaro. Here's Petit. He and Vieira were such a forceful combination, and such an attractive pair too when they play together for Arsenal. Now on opposing sides today. They had real quality together. It seemed the perfect pairing, didn't it, really?
Yeah, they did. I think Manu Petit was probably put back a year by going to Barcelona, in that he didn't really play for the Barcelona side.
His mate was in the way there, Vieira. And they are still big champs off the field.
Yeah, and they must be buddies as well, because I think had it been anybody else, he'd have had a row with them, but not with Vieira. Well, can you blame him? He sounds about 6'5".
Another free kick conceded. Petit and Vieira were playing boule together apparently this week.
Is that right?
Not in France, in London.
Really? Where did they find the place to play
no
boule?
idea. I knew you'd ask me. Here's Grocchia. Now Lampard. Melchiot is the wide man here. Chelsea seeking some cohesion. Babayaro. Hasselback had shown for him. Now Petit. He and Vieira, of course, still playing together for France. It's a bit, I was going to say, bitty, isn't it, really, at the moment, I think?
Yes, it is. I think you hit it right on the head, Peter. I think there's a lot of niggly stuff going on there, and not too much fluent football. Chelsea there must have put about 10 passes together. That's probably the first time we've seen some relaxed, controlled football in the game. I think once it does settle down, I think later on, as the game opens up in the second half, then we'll see some better stuff.
So many talented players on view. Expectations were high, as they always are on Cup final day. Wiltor just got caught then by Lampard. He is limping, Wiltor. Here's Desailly against Henry. He of the blinding pace.
Oh, that really is pace as well, isn't it? Now, Marcel Desailly thought he had bundles of time there in which to play, but Henry was on him like a flash.
Good Janssen. Now Hasselbank, who's been having specialist treatment back in Holland on that damaged calf. Desailly mopping up. Captain of club and country, Desailly, and he's tipping Vieira to be his successor for France. Good Janssen. Good link-up play with Hasselbank. They've got such a good understanding. Showing fine persistence and two, Good Janssen. Here's Lasso to swing it over, and it was Good Janssen on the end of it too. A little off balance.
Yeah, good football, wasn't it? Jimmy Floyd and Good Janssen showing that wonderful understanding that they've shown all season. Graham Lasso getting down the left side. I'd love to see Gronk just make a bit more ground to get on the back post for it, but a good occasion there for Chelsea.
Rather swung at it without too much conviction, Good Janssen. But he had sprinted into the centre then to meet that cross. Here's Campbell. 10 minutes to half-time. Arsenal 0, Chelsea 0. No breakthrough as yet. In the 121st FA Cup final, the second in Cardiff. Ljungberg. Now it's Petty. Hoping to boss the midfield. Hasselbank, he's seen the run then of Good Janssen. Good spot too there by Campbell.
Excellent positioning from Sol Campbell there. That was the perfect position for him to play Good Janssen.
Oh, Adams rather ponderous as Tati came sliding in.
The problem Jimmy Floyd made with that pass, he should have gone over the top of Sol and not try to go round him.
Wiltor taking on Babayaro. Ljungberg had come short for him, but to no avail.
He had come short, but his first run, he came short and should have gone long, but then he realised he was up against the pace of Desailly and Gallas and he tried to check out, but when Wiltor's head went down, there was no way that he could adjust his pass.
Now Melchior. That was Gronk. Seemed to be caught in two minds, though. Here's Tony Adams. Henry slipping it on to Wiltor. Neatly done too. He almost released Henry. Still might. Wiltor. Bergkamp lurking up there too, and in goes Laurent. Suddenly darted into the box then, Laurent, and very nearly gave Arsenal the lead.
Suddenly the game's coming alive as well, Peter. That was excellent football. Wiltor doing really, really well. But I spoke earlier about stopping crosses coming in. Mario Melchior doesn't work hard enough to prevent that ball coming in. It comes in, and Laurent does exceptionally well to get in on the back stick and just nuts it over the top. I think it's Graham Lasso that just gets back in the nick of time to put him off. But excellent passage of play there from the Reds of Arsenal.
Just got in ahead of Lasso then, Laurent.
But at this level, Peter, I can't emphasise enough, you must prevent crosses coming in the box, because if you give them time and space, more often than not, they will kick out a forward run.
Now Campbell. Good Janssen leaving the throw for Babayaro. A real sign of Arsenal's intent with that near miss, and Laurent coming so close. Went almost a year without a goal. I remember Laurent before getting one against Fulham a few weeks back. Similar sort of situation when he sneaked in on the blind side. The scrapping here by Lasso. He can't find Hasselbank.
It was excellent play from Graham Lasso. He muscled Sol Campbell out of the game, and Jimmy Floyd pulled to the far post. Now, Graham was under a lot of pressure to put it to the far post. Jimmy, for me, should have gone near post for a scuffed ball, which was only Graham's only opportunity to put one in.
Here's Gallas. Just skipping away then too from Thierry Henry. Now Desailly. One of the game's most decorated players, Desailly. Bags of experience. Lasso has plenty too. Now can he find Hasselbank? Good at hitting in, maybe Gronkia. No, the lines are flagging.
They're difficult decisions to give those, Peter. Brilliant work once again from Graham Lasso down the left-hand side as the ball comes in. I think it was Jimmy Floyd and Tony Adams just having a a little how's your father there, but I know it's actually goal. I don't really see where that's a foul. I've got to say, you've just got two guys going for the ball.
Vieira. Now Cole. Gallas had stepped up, but Henry was onside. Wiltor arriving in the box too. Just beyond him, but here is Sylvain Wiltor. Now Bergkamp. Another example of Henry's frightening pace. After Gallas got it wrong. Cole.
I suppose the one disadvantage he has with that frightening pace, but is no one can catch him up from his own side. And when he put the ball in, there was no one there.
Now Wiltor. Bergkamp. Good passing, slick passing from Arsenal. And they have won the corner.
Quite right, Peter. Excellent football there from Arsenal. Nice 1 and 2 touch. That's what it's all about. And got themselves into a great opportunity there. And unfortunately, Laurent couldn't put it in the box. Here we see once again, though, Thierry Henry, over 30 goals this season, taking the corner kick.
Well, he has plenty to aim for in the shape of Campbell and Adams. And Vieira too.
If you ask the defenders, though, Peter, they'll be absolutely delighted that he's out there taking the corner.
Adams on the edge of the penalty area to make his run. Campbell in the thick of things, along with Vieira. Whistle's gone. It wouldn't have counted anyway from Bergkamp.
Yeah, slight obstruction now, I think, from Tony Adams, just trying to get his body in the way of Melchiot and Marcel Desailly. Here we see the ball coming in once again, and Tony will, there he goes, sticks his backside into Mario Melchiot, and quite rightly, Mike Riley gives a free kick to Chelsea.
Inside the last 5 minutes of the first half. Wenger's team creating 1 or 2 chances now, but so are Chelsea. Wenger so confident his team will go on to achieve the double. Never wavered in that belief. Vieira. Of course, if they avoid defeat at Old Trafford on Wednesday, they will be the champions. Sounds easy, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Going to Old Trafford. Who have been hurt, Manchester United, to say the least, over the last couple of weeks.
Vieira to Adams. Chelsea just backing off for a moment. Here's the skipper again. Straight choice really between him and Keogh to partner Campbell at the back. Adams winning the vote today, but I wonder will he play at Old Trafford? 2 games in 5 days, maybe too much for him these days. At 35. Here's Wiltor. Now Campbell. Striding purposefully forward. Sol Campbell. Now that would have been some goal.
Well, I'd love to know the last time Sol Campbell scored with his left foot from 35 yards, Peter. I've got to say, rather ambitious there from Sol. The idea was good to break through and create 2-on-1 with somebody, but really should have played the ball off. He's a very capable defender, but I don't think he's going to make it.
I seem to remember you scoring from 30 yards. Was it your left or right foot in the replay?
That was many years ago.
Was it right or left?
Left.
Left for Manchester United, the replay against my team, Brighton. I didn't speak to you for about 10 years after that.
I was so chuffed, I've got to say, when you didn't speak to me. I was delighted.
Never forgiven you for that. Here's Gudjohnsen. Cole on the back foot. Gronkjaer was quicker. Hasselbank in the centre. Alert defending though, Campbell, just to calm down that situation after the threat from Gronkjaer.
Well, once again, Pete, it was only Jimmy Floyd in the penalty box. So Ida Gudjohnsen's got to make up ground and get in there.
Henry. Can't get away from Melchiot this time. Some sturdy work back there from Mario Melchiot.
That's much better from him. Getting closer to Thierry Henry and making it more difficult for him and getting the goal kick there for Carlo Guidici.
Played in the 2000 when Melchiot, having come back from injury, a long-term one too. Well, it certainly hasn't been easy going yet for Arsene Wenger's team, and I don't suppose he would have thought it would be.
No, quite right, Peter. This was always going to be a very, very tough encounter. Too many great players on show for it to have been one-sided.
Vieira, some lovely skill. Here's Henry. Look how tight Gallas is on him, though. Now Petit. Chelsea really fighting so hard for possession. Gudjohnsen offside as Hasselbank played him in.
The linesman, or should I say referee's assistant definitely looked twice and he got it wrong. He got it wrong. He was onside, Ida Good-Johnson. That's the type of play that Chelsea have been playing all year. These little 1-2s around the box with Ida Good-Johnson and Jimmy Floyd. And on that occasion, they were onside.
Real frustration for Chelsea, for Claudio Ranieri's team, who may be the underdogs, but they are scrapping every inch of the way here against Arsenal. Hasselback is still limping up front, not moving too freely. And you wonder, is that the calf problem?
Let's hope not, eh?
He had been a major doubt for this game, saying it was touch and go all week. Well, he's managed to start, and the signs are that perhaps he won't finish. Henry. And his frustration scored over there as he brought down Frank Lampard.
Yeah, good defending there from Frank Lampard, and I'm sure if Frank gives Henry any sort of yardage, he's going to kill Frank for pace. But he did very well, stuck by him and finally won the ball back.
It's some sight. Over 73,000 assembled today. This cauldron of excitement. And now into stoppage time at the end of the first half. 1 extra minute to be added on. Adams. Tati to Lasso, drifting inside for a moment. But now Bergkamp. Offside.
Once again, Peter, I didn't think it was. I've got to say, I thought the pass and the run was perfectly timed. Great goalkeeping from Carlo Cudicini. There we see it. That's not offside. That's no way that's offside. But Carlo Cudicini is sweeping up very, very well at the back of his defence.
But it is a dangerous game. Chelsea are playing, stepping up, trying to catch them offside with their pace.
Very much so.
Now they can break with Lauren. Bergkamp square of him here. Look at Parner sprinting forward too, but it's Lauren. Ljungberg's got to the near post. Good block and a vital one too from Gallas.
Yeah, good break there from Arsenal, but too many Chelsea players going to the ground as the half-time whistle sounds.
Well, a first half that took a while to get going, but certainly came to life towards the end of that first 45 minutes. Chances developing for both teams on this glorious day in Cardiff, but no goals to show for it so far. Pace of Henry, a constant threat up front for Arsenal. Chelsea certainly have to be wary of him, but themselves, well, they have created opportunities too at the other end, which so far have not been taken. Half-time in the FA Cup final in the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. It's Arsenal 0, Chelsea 0. So trophy for the 4th time. Here's Tony Adams, who's picked it up twice in the past. In 93 and of course in the double year of 98. Here's Lauren, who came as close as anyone to scoring in that first half, and he headed over the top. The foreign manager destined to take charge of an FA Cup winning side again. It's happened 4 times in the last 5 years. With Hullet, Wenger himself, of course, Gerard Houllier and Gianluca Vialli with Chelsea in 99, in 2000, when a certain Ray Wilkins was the coach. Here's Wiltor.
Yeah, they took my teeth out and put seats in it for them.
Happy memories for you.
Yeah, wonderful memories, yeah. Great bunch of lads to work.
Lauren. Out by Desailly, but not too effectively. He's been a dominant figure back there, though, Marcel Desailly for Chelsea. But here's Henry now. Great chance for Thierry Henry! Denied by Cudicini, and that reflex save from the Italian goalkeeper.
Fantastic football, great ball through there from Patrick Vieira. There we see it, the ball going in. The dynamic pace of Henry and Carlo Cudicini, who has been in fantastic form this season, pulling off yet another fabulous save.
Here's elasticity to the rescue then for Chelsea, with Thierry Henry bearing down on goal.
He has tremendous leg strength, Carlo Cudicini. He's a good leaper, not the biggest man in the world, but he's dynamic, his power.
Hasselback, who did seem to be struggling towards half-time, but they're persevering with him. That's a measure of how important he is to Chelsea. Now, can Vidgotson keep this in play? Just a bell. In goes Lauren, at the expense of a corner. His determination, his persistence paid off there, Heidegger Johnson.
Yeah, tremendous run there into the corner from Heidegger Johnson. Never gave up on it, stopped it right on the line, but then Lauren got back and made a good defensive challenge. And here we see once again this strange situation. I find this very difficult. Just to have Jimmy Floyd Hasselback in the box would cause people a problem. But here we see him taking the free kick, or the corner kick, sorry.
John Terry around the penalty spot. Ganas and Desai up from the back as well. A positive, confident goalkeeping by David Seaman. Determined to show in front of Eriksson that he is England's #1. Here's Bergkamp. But under real pressure there by Lampard, too much pressure. The assistants liking down below us. Now it's Vieira. Still so much speculation about Vieira's future. His present was that he gave the ball away. And Hasselback to fire it in.
Yeah, that was rather sloppy there from Patrick Vieira. I've got to say, just before that, Bergkamp's power around the box was absolutely fantastic, drawing the free kick out of Chelsea, but really showed great body strength.
Here's Adams. Now Cole on the charge. Bergkamp's Gronkia. Oof. Well, that's it, the lunge then by Cole. There was a cry of anguish from Jesper Gronkia.
It was a lunge from Ashley Cole, but I'm quite certain that Ashley has actually played the ball. He's made contact with the football, and that's what he has to do as a defender. We see Gronkia going back onto his own goal line, and there's a flying shot. Never actually touched him. This is what I'm saying about players making referees and linesmen's afternoon very, very difficult indeed. That was a good challenge there from Ashley Cole.
Here's Henry's chance again, Ray.
It was a great chance, wasn't it? Once he got it back on his right foot, I thought trouble for Chelsea. But then Carlo Cudicini is very, very agile. Marcel Desailly mopping up at the back.
Cudicini hoping for his 21st clean sheet of the season. Here's Gudjonsson. Still nothing between these two famous old London clubs. Up comes Lasseau. First capital final in 20 years. All square at this stage. Minutes into the second period. Desai. Now Lasseau missed out on the 2000 success. He's done well here. So too has David Seaman. Plucking that out of the air with consummate ease. You can certainly see why Wenger went for his experience today ahead of young Richard Wright.
He looks very composed, isn't he, Dave Seaman? That's probably the third cross that he's taken, and taken very comfortably indeed.
Totally unruffled. Vieira. Now Lauren. Wonderful sound around this stadium. It does generate such a nerve-tingling wall of sound through its structure. Kicked away by Ray Parlour.
Yeah, quite rightly so as well. Ray's lunging again there at Jimmy Floyd. Jimmy Floyd just poking it past him. Be careful, Ray Parlour. It's not the first time that he's been involved in something.
His lack of discipline has worked against him too in terms of the England place.
Quite, Peter.
Seems to be out of the reckoning at the moment.
Absolutely, because he's a wonderful player, Ray.
Gronkia. Now Melchiot. Not deep enough though. Straight at Vieira. Henry. Sloppy control by him too. Here's Lampard, who's having a storming game in the midfield. Really showing such drive and purpose.
Yeah, he really has gone for it, Frank Lampard. He's done very well. Going back to Mario Melchiot, when that ball was set back, that must go in the box. That's a very, very poor cross there from Mario. And players of this quality should be putting that in a dangerous area.
We're going there now for a different route. Adams, towering header away. In goes Desai. Then Hasselback. And Campbell very, very alert.
Desai has been at his most awesome best, I've got to say, Peter. Breaking from the back there, again, breaking the play up. Little ball through to Jimmy Floyd, just couldn't get it under control, and Sol Campbell coming across to sweep up the problem.
The early signs for the second half, very encouraging. Jimmy Floyd Hasselback with the corner. Good Johnson on the near post with Petit and Gallas. That was Henry who managed to head it out to Wiltor. Now Vieira. Arsenal hoping to pounce on the counter-attack, but it's not to be.
Well, once again, poor quality from the corner kick, Peter. You've got to be giving your players the opportunity to score. And Jimmy Floyd just hitting the front defender.
Melchior. Desai to Gallas. Now at left back in the second half. Here's Hasselbank. Arrowing his pass towards beyond Gudjohnsen. Adams was there. Just tidying things up coolly. Not even breaking sweat, Tony Adams. He says, I know when it'll be time to pack it in. I don't want to exceed my sell-by date.
I think his value to Arsenal stretches far beyond his own personal performance, Peter. I think the calming influence he has on the likes of Ashley Cole is, and Sol Campbell is becoming a far better defender in the presence of Tony Adams. I think that's the importance of having someone as good as him.
In fairness to Campbell, he really has come on leaps and bounds since his earlier on the nervous days after switching clubs in North London. Become a really dominant figure in the last few months of the season. Melchior. Now Cole. That'll be a goal kick. What a physical look in from Gronk here. I can't think why. It was obviously not a corner.
No, it was a bit of a panicked pass there from Mario Melchior. He was going on an overlap Jasper Gronk around Mario, but he played it far too early. Ashley Cole was very, very bright young defender.
Earlier around the area, hoping for his first trophy as Chelsea manager. He's won cups in Italy and in Spain. Will he bring on Gianfranco Zola at some stage? Thoughts on that, Ray? Change of tactic, it would be.
Yeah, I think we'll see him. I think we'll see Gianfranco at some stage. He's a wizard with the football, and I'm sure he would light the stadium up.
A real talisman in the past in terms of cup football and prizes for Chelsea. But now they have this free kick to defend, which Freddie Ljungberg has taken, and it's Cole. Adams. Arsenal, the team who've forgotten how to lose, but they haven't won this one yet. Freddie Ljungberg teasing Melchior and earning a corner kick. That'll be the signal for Campbell to advance, and Adams as well. And Adams isn't going to waste too much energy, just strolling up.
The old pro.
At this age, you take your time. Pace yourself. Henry with the corner. Easily repelled, though, by Manu Petit.
I think we've got to get Thierry Henry and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank off the corner kicks. The delivery has been poor.
Cole. Fending off Lampard initially, but Hunt was at hand. Now Hasselbank, certainly Petit was furious with himself that he couldn't quite slot it on. He and Lampard, their partnership is beginning to flourish now. Has done in recent weeks, now that Petit himself has settled down with Chelsea. Glorious skill there.
Absolutely, Peter. That was brilliant football from Petit, who appears to be pushing on a touch more, I've got to say, from midfield.
Ljungberg. A real injection of pace by him, on by Wiltor. Ljungberg has stayed down. He was clattered then. Henry. It'll be another corner to Arsenal. Some anxious glances towards Freddie Ljungberg.
I don't really know what Marcel Desailly is complaining about, to be perfectly honest. That looked a perfectly good corner there, Peter, I've got to say.
Melchior with a challenge on Ljungberg. He is back on his feet now. Henry to try again. Campbell in the 6-yard box. Adams is further back. Tala. Now Bergkamp. Again, very deep.
I think we've got to get a midfield player on these corner kicks that can put a ball in the box, I've got to say, Peter, because that, again, was awful quality.
Chelsea defending a high line. They could be made to pay for it. Here's Henry. Trying to slide it through then for Freddie Ljungberg. And a second bite of it, but out comes Lampard. So tenacious. Grokia couldn't get a run on goal. Play on. Well, kept it in, kept it alive. Here's Parler. Aaron's got streaking down the right, but up comes Desai again. Formidable in the tackle. Hasselbeck. His strength got him away then from Parler. Here's Ida Gudjohnsen. Desai's up there. Gudjohnsen going for goal. What a save by Seaman to flip it over the bar.
Absolutely, that was fabulous play there from Chelsea. Very, very aggressive. Ida Gudjohnsen gets it on his right foot. A fabulous shot there going into the far side of the goal there. David Seaman eyes on the ball all the way. He made it look very comfortable though, Peter, I've got to say.
Dipping just under the bar from Gudjohnsen. 22 goals from him this season. They're trying to decide which side to take it from.
Let's just make sure it goes in there and give someone a chance of putting the ball in the back of the net.
Hasselbeck roared on by his Everett fans behind that corner flag. Gallas had gone to the near post. That was John Terry. Couldn't make an impression though. Out comes Vieira. Now Wiltor. Bergkamp in space down this left side. They can find him. Here is Bergkamp. Well, his vision very much to the fore as usual. Not quite the pass he was seeking though for Thierry Henry.
I thought it was a great pass, Peter. I've got to say, I thought Henry stopped on it, not thinking that Bergkamp would play it first time. Brilliant play there from Wiltor, breaking down the right-hand side. Good vision. Picked out Dennis Bergkamp, but unfortunately it's no avail.
Desai. What a leader he's been for Chelsea, but that was a rare mistake by him. Narrow judgment from Marcel Desai. Lenny Youngberg. Now Henry. Much more pace to the game in the second half. There's a real bite to it now. Melchior. Grokia. Hasselbeck trying to find some room in the middle. Still Jesper Grokia. And Lampard. It's Lasseau rather over the top there from the ground. Lasseau suddenly popped up.
Good football there, Jesper Gronkjær. But this is excellent from Graham Lasseau. He brings it back onto his right foot. Taking all the Arsenal players go on the other side, but unfortunately he is on his weaker side and sticks it over the top. But a good passage of play there. Frank Lampard in the middle of the field, and you mentioned it earlier, Peter, has really come to the fore. That's that earlier chance there from Ida Gudjohnsen going in. And Dave Seaman really looked very comfortable with that. But a bit more action from both sides now.
Yeah, the good news is the tea's arrived, so another big gulp.
I'll have a natter while you can have a slurp.
Here's Lara. Being closed down eagerly then by Lasseau. An hour gone. Still 0-0. The chances now beginning to develop at either end on a fairly regular basis. Here's Grokia. Hasselbeck, well, appreciating the thought there from Grokia.
Yeah, because he should have done better himself. You know, Gronkjær had one thing on his mind, just opening himself up and putting that ball in between defender and goalkeeper. And Jimmy didn't continue his run, and I think the applause from Jimmy were welcomed, I would have thought, from Gronkjær.
But he's not moving freely, Hasselbeck.
No, he isn't.
He is struggling. They'll keep him out there as long as they dare.
Well, the thing that Jimmy has on his side, Peter, is the fact that this probably, apart from last week's last home game, will be his last game of the season. Therefore, if he does do himself a little bit of damage with the calf, he'll be ready to do the pre-season bit come July. So he doesn't have any commitments in the World Cup unless he's got a bit of TV going on. But he can get himself right. Let's give it a go in this one.
Wenger hoping his team can find a breakthrough against this very resolute team Chelsea are fielding today. The right one has turned up to a large extent.
And I think all because of this man as well. Desai there has just chased from the back to put Sol Campbell under pressure. Really leading by example, Marceau. He looks a bit tired trying to get back, but I'm sure he'll be there.
Campbell. Gudjohnsen almost caught him out. Now it's Grokia. Arsenal being stretched here. Grokia, the Danish international. Hasselbeck pulls the trigger. Didn't get hold of it, but it will be a corner.
Few gaps appearing in the Arsenal at the moment from back to front, and I think it's enabling Chelsea to use that midfield section to spring forward. And at the moment they appear to be the side that might just nick in front.
Chelsea will see this as a promising spell.
Yeah, Tony Adams got back and did well there, actually made contact, and not Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. There we might see a bit of quality. Graham Lasso's on the ball.
Lasso's corner, aiming for Desai at the far post. Seaman was struggling, just kept it out. That was Terry, now it's got behind. Little scuffle breaking out. Desai, I thought, did shove as he went in for that cross.
I think he's given it against Mario Malchiot for the second ball that comes back across the box. Now, Graham Lasso's given him a chance. That is a foul. He's all over the top of Tony Adams, Marcel Desailly. But I think this is where the foul's been given. Don't see it personally, but that, I think, why the foul was given. But it just goes to show, Peter, what I was trying to emphasise before. If you get quality in the box from these set plays, you've got a chance of scoring a goal. Graham Lasso gets on the ball, puts in a good ball, and you've got a chance of scoring.
Well, Chelsea will be sensing now they can't cause an upset today. Arsenal beaten last season. Are they to suffer more heartbreak?
They're going to have to pick their game up, Peter, I've got to say, because at the moment it's Chelsea that are on the ascendancy. $73,000 absorbed in this contest now, which is really coming to life in the second half. William Gallas. Now Lasso. Johnson's run. Sound covering though by Sol Campbell. Petit's measure pass to Gronkier. This comes Vieira eating up the ground, but it's still Gronkier. Now Vieira hasn't been allowed to dominate the game as Wenger would have wanted. Parla. And then Cole with the clearance in search of Henry. John Terry's head out, straight to Bergkamp. Could be problems for Chelsea now. Wiltor. Chelsea hoping they've kept their shape. Thierry Henry. Lovely little ball there for Wiltor. What a disappointing finish from the Frenchman. Yeah, it was a disappointing finish. Thierry Henry did ever so well. He took Mario Melchior and John Terry inside. Not one of them picking up the run of Wiltor. And as the ball comes on the outside, Wiltor probably on his wonkier left foot just lashes it past Carlo Cudicini's right-hand post. That was a good opportunity for Arsenal.
Henry setting up Sylvain Wiltor, who has scored 16 times this season. 2 in the FA Cup. Way off target then, though. Way below the standards we've come to expect of Arsenal. Here's Vieira. Trying to establish his authority on the midfield. Good Janssen to Lasso, and then Gallas. He will favour his right foot.
That's something we didn't see in the first half from the Chelsea fullbacks. Both Mario Melchior or Celestine didn't really get past the halfway line in the first half, and that's the first time I think William Gallas has ventured forward.
Bergkamp. So much more these days than just the bit part player he seemed to be earlier in the season. Good Janssen. In steps Patrick Vieira. And Palmer's having none of it though.
Not often you see that. Vieira muscled out of the game.
Gronkier. It's not deep enough for good Janssen as Petit at full stretch. Now his French compatriot Patrick Vieira. On to Bergkamp. Says he's fed up with finishing second with Arsenal. So that, of course, on the last 3 occasions to Manchester United in the League Championship, to Liverpool here in the FA Cup, and they also missed out on the UEFA Cup, the Galatasaray in the final. So they reckon they're due to win something. Here's Ferry Yukberg. Now his career was taken off under Arsene Wenger. It's most productive today, you would have to say.
No, I couldn't agree more. It's been difficult for Freddie to get in the game. He's played wide left, he's tried to break in behind people, but Melchior and Gronkier down that side have done quite well. Here we see Gianfranco Zola.
Is he sunbathing?
Well, if you look at him, if you look at the size of the guy now, when he turns around, he's like the TARDIS. This guy works so hard on his body that when he takes his shirt off, he opens up, he spreads out. He is as strong as an ox, and I think for smaller men now in the game, that's how you've got to be. And it'd be nice to see Franco get a game.
That was hooked away then by Desai, but now it's Parla. is cut and thrust between these two. And it's still goalless somehow. Free kick to Chelsea. Maybe the opportunity to make the change. Gianfranco Zola.
I think the somehow comes about, Peter, what you were saying there is the fact that just at the last second we've lacked that real quality. Now this is one man that might be able to produce that real piece of quality. Gianfranco Zola. Jimmy Floyd obviously has been struggling all week, or for the last couple of weeks, taking his leave, and the little maestro takes to the field.
35 years old, but still with so much to offer. A real magician with the football. And Chelsea will be hoping this can be a turning point now for them. Back, well, he really has been a talisman, of course, but I don't think there was any way he was going to finish this game, given the fashion in which he obviously was being impaired by the injury. Here is Zola, straight into the fray. Now Lauren. The only one right up top here, being policed by John Terry, the hero of the semi-final, of course. Terry with a goal against Fulham, also an outstanding display overall.
If he's got his career goes in the right way, he should be Arsenal's Tony Adams for the next 15 years to come. Sorry, did I say Arsenal's? I meant Chelsea's.
I know what you meant. Millions the world over were struggling.
Exactly, I do apologise.
You could have done your age.
You would.
Chelsea's free kick. Here's Lampard. Good early ball to find. Here's Pedrokia. Now, can he get away from Cole here? No, good defending by Cole. The England coach would have been impressed by that. Here's Adams. Rolled on to Wiltor. Little change of pace and direction by him. Ray Parlour. Still Parlour. Got a side of goal! What a goal from Ray Parlour!
What a goal, Peter. Quite right, too. Carlo Cudicini never had a chance with that. It's a great break from the middle of the field. Viltord was exceptional. Took away two players, slips it through to Ray Parlour. The problem that the Chelsea defenders had, they backed off Ray too much. Here we see Viltord pick the ball up. Good movement past Desai. Great run from Ray Parlour. Now everyone backs off. Backs off. Go tight to him. Shut him down. They don't shut him down. And he's got quality, Ray Parlour. It's a fantastic strike. What a goal to set this cup final alive. Poor old Carlo Cudicini. Nothing to do with it. Right in the top corner. Great goal.
Well, a man who has given so much outstanding service down the years to Arsenal, over a decade now with the Gunners. That's what it means to Arsene Wenger and his team have finally got in front. A wonder strike from Parlour, who hasn't scored in the Premiership all season. He did get one against Gillingham. That was an excellent goal too in the FA Cup. He picks his moment. He relishes this competition quite clearly this season. But it's far from over yet, given the way that Chelsea have set about their task in this second half.
Yeah, probably been the better side, Peter, Chelsea in the second half. They had a couple more better opportunities to score goals, but my word, it took a little bit of real quality to open this cup final up, and Ray Parlour can be very pleased with himself with that goal.
Good Johnson, catch Chelsea strike back. Zola. The goal coming 20 minutes from time. Lara to Henry. Youngberg. Play on, says the referee. I think there's to be a change by Arsenal. Edu, the Brazilian, being introduced. And in place of Bergkamp.
Yeah, I think we might see Ljungberg switch to the right-hand side. Edu come on to the left-hand side. Or is it Ray Parlour? Ray Parlour looks as if he's going to go right-sided with Edu coming in the centre of the field with Patrick Vieira. With Freddie Ljungberg standing exactly where he is on the left-hand side.
That is the beauty of Wenger's squad. He always has so many options open to him.
He does, but when you've got someone that works tirelessly like Ray Parlour that plays in that central midfield area, it is a real bonus to have that. Now, whether Edu can give him them same qualities, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, disappointment for Dennis Bergkamp, who has been in such marvellous form lately. Maybe didn't influence this game as he would have hoped. But his team have the lead. Here's Adams against Zola. My money was was on Adams there.
Bit of a mismatch, right?
Terry. That flipped off the head of Vieira. It goes Zola with Johnson offside. Such quick thinking by Zola that some of the Chelsea fans didn't see the flag. It was clearly raised.
Yeah, pretty evident as well. Tony Adams and Sol Campbell giving some high fives to each other. They both stepped up right at the right point. Here we see it, the ball coming through, and they both stepped out exceptionally well. But what a finish! Look at this. He didn't really hear a whistle, but that's a great finish. But I think game on, Peter.
Well, very much so. Henry got plenty of height then against Terry and Melchiot, but no more than that. Adu. The season certainly got better as it wore on. Certainly began to win over the Arsenal fans towards the end of the campaign. Saying the end, of course, it's still a very, very big game to come on Wednesday, and then another league match as well at the weekend for Arsenal. They have two opportunities to wrap up the championship. But for the moment, the hero is Ray Parlour. Nearly 400 first-class appearances since he made his debut way back in '92. He won't have scored a better goal than that one.
He probably hasn't done, Peter. He scored some very good ones as Ray, we see. But the thing with the Chelsea defenders, no one came to the ball and blocked that avenue off, and it gave Ray the opportunity to line it up and stick it where he wanted to. But what a shot.
And will the England coach have cause to think again about Ray Parlour?
Well, it is interesting, isn't it? Because, again, looking at Graham Lasso's performance this afternoon, I don't think you can look too far beyond Graham on the left-hand side. But Ray Parlour now throws his hat in the ring, and he can play midfield, he can play right wing-back, he can play right in a four. So you definitely get that quality from Ray Parlour.
Ranieri wants some quality from his team now to turn this back in their favour. Lampard. Passer was a little short. Adu has got real quality on the ball. He's a class act, Adu, but maybe not always with a heart for the battle road.
Well, I think that's the thing in English football, Peter. Yes, he is fantastic on the ball, but does he have that will to want to work when he's not got it? And I think that's what actually Mr. Wenger there has probably been worried too much about.
Youngberg. The Arsenal fans in great voice now. Those in blue doing their best, though, to encourage their team to claw their way back. It's still on a knife edge. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 0. Ray Parlour with the only goal of this final. The jostle between Henry and Terry. And the referee wants a word.
I think he's done well, Mike Riley. I've got to say it's not been an easy afternoon for him, and quite right, he just pulls the guys apart.
Red card there for a minute. Okay. Yellow for Henry, presumably for Terry as well.
Yes, I would have thought so. He's got to give it to one, he'll give it to the other. Stupid. Two young guys that have got immense talent really shouldn't get involved in it. I know the emotions run really high, but you've got to try and stand out above it.
Certainly John Terry is tipped as an England regular of the future once he gets his act together off the field. Here's Adu. Good touch then for Parlour. Now Wiltor. No offside. It's hard to catch the flag from here in the sunshine over there. But
got to be close as well, Peter. Here we see Ray Parlour just winning the ball in the middle field, just hacking it forward.
It'll be Wiltor here.
It's got to be Wiltor. I don't think it was Thierry Henry.
And these guys are so quick, it's not easy for the linesman. Another change, and Budivine Zenden, former Barcelona player, is coming on in place of Melchiot.
Yeah, that will mean Gallas will come across to right fullback, Graham Lasso will slot in at left fullback, and Zenden will go in as a wide left player in a four. So no real change as far as the shape's concerned, just personnel.
Well, Zenden is certainly a match winner on his day. He's had his injury problems with Chelsea this season, but they will give it their best shot now. Without Jimmy Floyd Hasselback, but with Zola on, with Zenden on. Here's Lasso. Campbell. Now Petit.
That's not the best way to get the best out of Gianfranco Zola.
No,
exceptional in the air for his size, Gianfranco. It really isn't the way to play to him. He's got to have it in around his feet so he can work his magic.
Gallas now indeed at right back, clashing with Henry.
Absolutely nothing, Peter. Henry, look, there's nothing wrong with him at all. He's got a little bump on the head. Get on with the game.
You're in an uncompromising mood today, Wilkins.
I am. It's sitting next to you for this length of time.
Now Zenden. To Gallas. Zola made a dart through the middle. Petit. You can't spray it around, but now they're on the back foot again, and it's Cole sprinting clear. Ashley Cole might seal it here for Arsenal. Henry! What a save from Kudachin, and it was Parler, not the follow-up. Could have made sure then for Arsenal.
Ashley Cole was absolutely magnificent there, Peter. He won the ball down, he played a give and go, and he was in on goal. Ball dropped to Henry, another fantastic save from Carlo Kudachin, and that could have been 2-0.
Grocchia. But Johnson and Zola in the penalty box. Zenden seemed a little slow to react there.
This is what I'm talking about earlier, Peter. When the right-sided midfield player crosses it, the left-sided player has to be on the back post. And Zenden, as you quite rightly stated, mate, was much too slow.
Vieira relishing the battle in the midfield. Now Ljungberg against Gallas. Here's Young Terry. Desai and Lampard. But Johnson made himself available. Adams felt he won it cleanly, so did Mike Riley. Here's Ljungberg. Still Freddie Ljungberg. Oh, what a finish! And is that the goal now that has sealed the FA Cup on the first part of the double for Arsenal?
My word, what a fantastic goal. We have seen 2 goals of sheer quality this afternoon. Freddie Ljungberg's strength, his pace, his power was fantastic, and then he had the composure to steady himself. Here we see Good Johnson losing possession of the ball. And from here on in, it's Freddie Ljungberg. Watch him go past these two. John Cherry makes a vain attempt to pick him up. His power takes him there. But this is the thing when you get there, your composure to stick it where you want to stick it. And Ljungberg has been one of the players that has been in sublime form over the last couple of months. Look at him, steadies himself, sees where Carlo positions himself and bends it around him, starting it a yard outside the upright into the far corner. 2 absolutely magnificent goals for the Arsenal.
Well, so much is about confidence, and this man has bags of it. Freddie Ljungberg for Arsenal. Has that now ended Chelsea's gallant challenge?
And it has been a gallant challenge. They've worked really hard, Chelsea.
As Zola is doing now, trying to force an opening. Zaran to Parler, whose goal set Arsenal on their way, and now an absolute blinder too from Ljungberg. And Arsene Wenger has been saying, isn't he, that Ljungberg is a different player now to the one he signed, and there was the evidence. It's a cracking strike. England, beware.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was going to say that, Peter. My word, he's in fantastic form. Please God he doesn't produce that form for the Swedes in the summer, but Freddie Ljungberg really has been doing well.
Kanu for Henry. That's the swap now for Arsenal. As the Nigerian comes on for a late taste of the action here. Just under 10 minutes remaining. Gallas, 2 goals that may well have knocked the stuffing out of Chelsea. Ranieri and their fans here will be hoping not. Lampard, who certainly doesn't deserve to be on the losing side.
No, he doesn't. Done very well.
So, the poor first touch though. Petit. On by Edu for Arsenal. Petit recovering quickly. On by Desai. Now Lasso for Zenden. It's Laronet first. A really buoyant Arsenal at the moment, thanks to the 2 goals that have steered the final their way. Lampard. Adams to Kanu.
He has won a game, Tony, doesn't he? Goes on that surge from through the middle of the field.
Kanu once more, heading towards Parlour. Also a goal up last year, Arsenal, don't forget that. Liverpool won the game with 2 from Michael Owen in the last 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, quite right, but this looks a different Arsenal to me, Peter. A bit of resilience amongst them.
Zola, they are so hard to beat, Arsenal. So exciting to watch all season, really. Chelsea have played in patches throughout their campaign. Very, very well capable on their day, no question about that. But at the moment having to settle for second best against a rampant Arsenal. But here's Lampard. He certainly won't give up. Vieira. Now Ljungberg. That was his 17th goal of his season. 7 in 7 now. Good Johnson with quick feet. And Grokia. Can Chelsea pull one back here? Good Johnson. And well gathered in by David Seaman.
Excellent goalkeeping from David Seaman, very composed. He did very well there, Ida. Good Johnson to get it out of his feet. Gronkea once again doing well down the right side. And Ida with a shot straight at David Seaman.
Well, it was Freddie Ljungberg, remember, who gave Arsenal the lead a year ago. Now he's come up with Arsenal's second here. And it might all just prove too much for Chelsea. For all their endeavour, all their enterprise, they're up against a very, very good team here in Arsenal.
I think you've hit it on the head, a team. They do play as a team, these guys, even when things aren't going too well. Here's that second goal once again. What a strike. Carlo Cudicini never had a chance.
Edu. Ljungberg. Here's Zenden.
I watched them before the kick-off, Peter, when the national anthems were being played, and as they stood there, Arsenal, they all gripped arms and they gripped around each other, and you could see that they do have something quite special, this bunch of guys. I've got to say, they're very collective.
Well, they have a fantastic belief, no question about that, engendered by Wenger over recent years, but of course they have been finishing second in things. Maybe not today. Chelsea still living in hope. Zola will leave the throw for Gallas. Terry's arrived in the middle now. It won't reach him, though. At least it shouldn't have done. Here's Terry now. Laid off for Lasso. And good Johnson. Lampard. And a decent strike, but not close enough. But I would think Eriksson will have been impressed by his showing today.
Yes, I think he would have done. I think Frank really did attempt to take the game by the scruff of the neck from the first whistle, and he's had a very good afternoon. He doesn't really deserve to be on that losing side, as it would appear it's going to happen.
Arsenal 5 minutes away from completing the first part of the domestic double. And that for the third time, of course. Class of 71 and a class of 98. Gallas. Up by Lampard. Here's Ashley Cole. We're unsure of Grokia's presence behind him. Now Zola. Petit. And it's Zenden. No real conviction, though, about Chelsea.
No, clever football around the box, but no end product, unfortunately. Very nice football around the box.
They are capable of such bewitching football at times, Chelsea. But fair to say now, they have met their match in Arsenal, it would seem. Just over 3 minutes of the 90 remain. Seaman, whose keeping has been impeccable so far today. In goes Edu. Rather too abrasively, though. Was it the other way around? In fact, it's a free kick to Arsenal. It was Zenden seemed to be the guilty party. Well, what would Eriksson have made of his compatriot Freddie Ljungberg today?
My word, I'm sure he'd have been very, very impressed, and we're probably hoping that he was English.
Yes. He'll miss again. Kanu. Setting off on a run, which is curtailed by Desai. Kanu seems to only play the odd cameo role these days. Not a bad man to be able to bring on, though.
No, absolutely. A tremendously gifted player. Really gifted player. You want the ball held up front, it sticks to him like a magnet. He's a really, really talented guy. Just tends to seem a little laid back at times.
Here's Kanu now, but not for long. Zenden. Gallas had shown for Lampard, but it's Tetu who's located instead as Inkek Ray Parlour. Typically in energetic fashion. A great engine he's got, Parlour. 2 minutes remain.
Sorry, coupled with quality. I think we've seen Ray Parlour's quality this afternoon. Really terrific football.
John Terry to Lampard. Adams is ever so commanding. Look at him chasing too.
Get back, Tony.
That might be Wenger's view. I just got excited as a fan.
Yeah, of course you would.
Not of Arsenal necessarily, I hasten to point out.
A fan of football.
Absolutely. Terry. Now Desai. The last chance really now then for Chelsea to take it to the wire. It seems that it's not going to be that way. Kanu just keen to retain possession for Arsenal. And the fans in red and white preparing to celebrate.
Martin Keown going to make a little entrance to the last piece of the fray, Peter, I think.
3 added minutes. We're almost into. Kanu wasting a little more time. Decision going Chelsea's way as Martin Keown prepares to come on. I'm sure he was very disappointed at being left out today. And they may not even get him on. Zola.
Minutes extra time.
To take it over.
3 minutes.
Good Johnson. No way through for him. It's been hard graft for Good Johnson. Especially without his normal front-running partner later on, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Just riding the tackles then, determined to keep going.
He's led by example, hasn't he, Marcel Desailly? He's been awesome. Awesome in his defensive work. Also in the quality of his play, trying to get the ball back for Chelsea.
It's number 5, Martin Keown.
Keown for Wiltor is the exchange.
They seem to have an abundance of defenders. Is Martin going to go up front, I wonder?
I don't care at this stage. Just get me out there. Let me have a taste. A loyal servant down the years to Arsenal. His second spell, of course. Lampard. Now Zola twisting and turning. Tee it up though for Lampard. Petit. Lawrence clearance, straight to Lampard again. He has worked tirelessly, Frank Lampard. But it would seem now, unless there's a miraculous change here later on, working tirelessly for the losing team. Down goes Parlour. Referee not too happy with that challenge by Good Johnson.
I think Mike Riley's had a really good game, I've got to say, the referee. But that one I probably wouldn't have... they were in the last knock into the game, into added time. game.
Arsenal fans ready to raise the roof in the Millennium Stadium. Fantastic noise echoing around the ground. Budicini, who's pulled off a couple of wonder saves, and still two have sailed past him. From Parler and from Ljungberg. Not too many goalkeepers would have stopped there. Lampard, wide to Gallas. Now Grokia. Vieira stronger in the tackle. And his old chum, Manu Petit. It's all over. And Arsenal have completed part one of another memorable double bid. It's safely under wraps for them. The frustration of 12 months ago cast aside by Arsene Wenger's team as they triumph over Chelsea. 2 goals to nil. Ray Parler with the first in this all-London final. Freddie Ljungberg with the icing on the cake. 2 magnificent goals. Well, a beaming smile and no wonder from Arsene Wenger. First the cup and now for the league. For Chelsea, it's a case of, well, perhaps not being quite good enough on the day to resist this exceptional Arsenal team. One that's now gone 25 games unbeaten in domestic competition. Ljungberg the hero, but then they have plenty of them out there. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0.
Well, congratulations to Arsenal, winners by those 2 goals scored by Ray Parler and Freddie Ljungberg. And John Barnes, I think what is really good to report from an FA Cup final, it was won by 2 quality strikes.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a good game. You know, normally FA Cup finals sometimes can be disappointing. Last year it had the incident in the last 5 minutes, but there were 2 good sides. Chelsea, until Arsenal had scored the first goal, were probably the better side in the second half. But what a goal! That was a goal worthy of winning any FA Cup final. And of course, Ljungberg capped it off with an equally stunning goal. So it was 2 quality goals from a quality side. Although my heart goes out to Chelsea as well, because they really played well today, and they can feel a little bit hard done by.
But for Arsenal, great to go back to the sea from Ray Parler, and it really opened up the game because Chelsea had to go for it after this terrific goal from Parler.
Well, Chelsea were the dominant side, and it's a great one by Parler. Not enough pace to take him clear. Nevertheless, the Chelsea players are backing off, and it's a fantastic finish. Budicini got a hand to it, but really he did well to get a hand to it, and he couldn't keep it out.
Clever ball from Wiltord as well.
Great ball by Wiltord. I mean, we thought that as you can see as he goes forward here, no one coaches him down. Good run by Wiltord to back people up. Great finish, struck it early, fantastic goal. And it really took something like this because the strikers today were a little bit off. Gudjonsson and Hasselbank, Henry and Bergkamp, and I thought that Arsenal probably had a little bit more quality in midfield in terms of attacking midfield play than Chelsea. So the midfield really are the ones who won it for Arsenal in terms of their attacking play.
We've seen it from just about every possible angle there. No matter how you look at it, which way you look at it, it's a terrific strike. And we didn't think, and I don't think Arsene Wenger thought that we might have seen a better goal, but if anything, Ljungberg's goal is better.
Yes, once again, I mean, it's a fantastic goal. Lots of strength against Terry, who came on, and it's a great finish. Similar to the curling effort from Parler, but he showed a lot of composure. He looked up to see whether he could actually pass the ball, and there was no one there, so he thought, why not? You know, he out-muscled Terry. I don't know whether his virus had anything to do with that. Should have been closed down. As you can see, Gallas probably aware of Henry, but Terry, unlike him to be muscled out in that position, nothing else on, and that's the only thing that he could have done, the only place he could have put it.
He really is man of the month, isn't he, Freddie Ljungberg?
Yes, I mean, it's a real team effort from Arsenal's point of view, but they really owe this man a lot in this last month because he really has carried them throughout in the league, and of course he just capped it off with a fantastic goal, which effectively won the game for them, although Chelsea didn't score.
Because it's on to Old Trafford now, and I remember Freddie Ljungberg's first ever goal for Arsenal was against Manchester United. And how big a fillip will this be for Arsenal now, with one half of the double already completed?
Well, you probably would have thought that this would have been the harder of the 2. I mean, of course, they don't want to go and lose at Old Trafford, but if they lose at Old Trafford, you don't want to be going into the last game having to win against Everton to win the league, although they probably will do that. You really want to finish it at Old Trafford, and a draw will be enough. Manchester United obviously are going to try and put one over them, but they would have thought that this would have been the harder of the 2 to complete. But they can't lull themselves into any form of complacency in thinking that it's now done, because they still have 2 hard games to go.
There's a great togetherness about Arsenal, isn't there? Ray Wilkins made the point about them putting their arms around one another.
Yeah, they've got a real spirit, team spirit, determination, will to win, because particularly after the disappointment of last year, they know it counts for nothing getting this far and then ending up winning nothing as they did last year. So they realize that they have to go to the final whistle, not only the FA Cup final, but also hopefully it'll be finished at Manchester United from their point of view, but they know they have to play to the final whistle right till the end of the season.
Chelsea have always had a bit of an Indian sign over Tottenham Hotspur, but at the moment they must wonder how they're going to beat Arsenal again, because Arsenal just seem to have the supremacy.
Well, and in the game, take the goals aside, and you can say Chelsea, possibly until Ray Parlour scored, were the better team. But as I said, with Hasselbank not firing on all cylinders, it really will take something from either midfield. And unfortunately for Chelsea, their midfield players, while they were neat, didn't have the injection or the creativity as the Arsenal midfield players did to win the match for their respective sides. What is this man's secret? Arsene Wenger, we just saw him there. He really does seem to foster that togetherness. Very clever man. Well, he likes an organised side, and of course, you know, he has wonderful players, don't get me wrong, but he likes his team to play organised football, to know the function of their positions, how to play in their positions, and then, if you have quality, then you've got a chance. But Arsenal are probably the most organised side in the Premier League, and you can see why they've gone all the way down to the wire. As much as organisation, you need the togetherness, the team spirit, the will to win, the never-say-die attitude, which is what Arsenal and Tony Adams particularly is all about. Today's winners were guaranteed a place in the UEFA Cup. Well, of course, Arsenal are going to be in the Champions League anyway. They're bound to finish in the top two. But it does mean some consolation for Chelsea. No matter where they finish in the Premier League, they're going to play in the UEFA Cup next season. Yes, it's some consolation, but of course it means nothing now. Obviously, when it sinks in, then, you know, next week they'll be thinking at least we're guaranteed a place in the UEFA Cup. But nevertheless, it will be total disappointment and desolation, as you can see from Emmanuel Petit sitting there. So it's disappointment, but the great thing about football is that there's always tomorrow. You know, they've got to raise themselves to play the last game of the season, and there's always next year. As far as Chelsea are concerned, do you think it was the big game players who didn't quite manage it today? We talked about the strikers beforehand, didn't we? And Hasselbank and Gudjohnsen today didn't quite fire on all cylinders. Well, Gudjohnsen did quite well in the first half, and he really was up front by himself, because Hasselbank's injury really hampered him. And I think if Hasselbank had been fit, they could have caused them more problems. So Gudjohnsen in the first half did quite well. At times in the second half, but he really had to carry the attacking fight by himself. And as I said, if either defence could marshal the two strikers, it'll take something else. And that's where I thought Arsenal had more creativity and more goals from all over their team, as opposed to Chelsea, who really rely so heavily on the front two for their goals. Well, the Chelsea players are so distraught, it looked for a moment there as though they were going to go off and not even receive their losers' medals. Of course, they've won their last two finals. For Arsenal now, they've won the FA Cup 8 times, and we can now go back to the Millennium Stadium to Peter Brackley.
Well, as ever, there has to be a loser, and today it's Chelsea, but they gave their all. No one could have asked more of them. They certainly pushed Arsenal all the way. Two of those late goals, wonder goals, they certainly were. That turned the cup final Arsenal's way. But it was, to a large extent, Ray Wilkins, the right Chelsea today.
Yes, it was. I thought they came out, especially second half, they came out on all cylinders blasting, and against the run of play, I think Arsenal took the lead. Desailly led by example, and they really put Arsenal under a lot of pressure, had the best opportunities. But then when you come to these sort of massive occasions, you need players for big occasions, and the two goals that Arsenal scored, you probably won't see two better goals in a single match, whether it be a cup final, whether it be a league game, whether it be a Sunday game. Those were fantastic goals.
Well, disappointment for Ken Bates' Chelsea. Ranieri hasn't yet won a trophy. Petit certainly did with Arsenal. And it's a runners-up medal for him today in the blue of Chelsea. And that's what it's all about. UEFA President Lennart Johansson about to present the trophy to Tony Adams. Has there been more of a winner in the game than that man?
Well, he is. He's magnificent, isn't he, Tony? He thoroughly deserves every accolade that people give him. He's overcome his own personal
He's still
problems.
lifting them, still cajoling.
Well, he is. That's what he's all about. And that's what, when he does finish, where do they find the next one? Because you have to have them in successful teams. You need leaders. You need quality professional players, and they don't come much bigger than Tony Adams.
For Arsenal.
Well, what a moment for him. Up goes David Seaman. Tony Adams will be the last man on the roster. David Seaman so cool and composed in goal. Arsene Wenger had the decision to make by give Richard Wright his run out, as he had suggested he might, or do I play Seaman? I think his experience was invaluable today. So many outstanding players in this Arsenal team. Thierry Henry, Freddie Ljungberg scored that second classic goal. Dennis Bergkamp, who missed out in '98 because of injury. He only had a cameo role at the end of last season's final. Well, now he is a winner. Sylvain Wiltord, who certainly played his part. Cano, who came on as a sub. And Sol Campbell kissing the cup now. And there is Richard Wright. His time will come. Lee Dixon, who's seen it all before, of course. As has Martin Keown. And Arsene Wenger. What a job he has done in building this latest Arsenal team, one that he says is better than the '98 side.
Well, they're a very talented bunch of guys, aren't they? And this is obviously the moment they've been waiting for.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Tony Adams raises the FA Cup for the third time, as Brian Robson had for Manchester United. For Arsenal, Tony Adams, it's 93, 98, now 2002. There'll be, I'm sure, a tear in his eye. Patrick Vieira, who's skipped the team on many occasions when Adams hasn't been playing, when he was out through injury. A tear in Tony Adams' eye. David Dean, the vice-chairman, looking on proudly. Adams approaching perhaps the end of his marvellous career with Arsenal that has spanned the last 19 years, 14 of them as the Gunners skipper. But now for the league double. The league and cup. Arsenal will march into Old Trafford on Wednesday in the valiant yet determined mood as they seek to secure the title in the home of the defending league champions. Double-double in sight for the Gunners. Now for Old Trafford, and they hope the championship. They have beaten Chelsea today in the FA Cup final in the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff by 2-0.